Okay. So we were talking about the tension in town around Indigenous hunting. Are people afraid to put their heads up on this issue?
Oh, they're definitely afraid, because anyone that raises an issue in relation to Indigenous people is tarred a racist, and I've been tarred a racist. My answer always is that what part of cruelty to an animal, or killing an animal that's vulnerable to extinction, or is on the endangered species list, is racism. If anyone can explain that to me, I'll be really happy, because the only part that's racial about it is that the animals that are being killed are only to be able to be killed by an Indigenous person, which causes conflict in the community. We have white fishermen that come out here every day, recreational fishermen, professional fishermen. If they're caught even with their line drifting into a green zone, they can be fined heavily, $100,000. So it causes a lot of tension. We're in the years of conciliation, yet we've got two laws, and it's the same with the cruelty laws. The 2001 Animal Care and Protection Act excludes Indigenous hunting only in Queensland, the only state and territory in the whole of Australia. Section 8 exempts Indigenous hunting. So people coming out here to see a beautiful animal, people in Cairns that come out here, local, interstate and international tourists spend thousands of dollars to come here, and they're able to come out here to see beautiful animals, but unfortunately they've seen recently butchered and slaughtered in front of them because the law allows it. It's not the Indigenous people's fault solely, it's the government's fault because they allow it. They don't close that loophole.
Why are you putting your head up? I mean, do you have any fears about speaking out?
I don't have any personal fears. I've had a union involvement in Victoria. I've been threatened many, many times by workers, by management, by other union officials. I'm the sort of bloke that once I get my teeth into something, I never let it go. I do fear for people around me. I fear for people who support me. And there's been threats made to other people. And people are reluctant to talk about it because they live in communities where they may suffer some retribution. And when you're up in this part of the country, the retribution can be anything. So, me personally, I'm in the phone book. If people want to come for me, they know where I live.
Have you made enemies?
I've made plenty of enemies. Made plenty of friends too, though. I've made plenty of friends amongst Indigenous people. Tomorrow I'm releasing a turtle with Indigenous people, and I'll be welcomed there like a brother.
Now, going to footage, what was filmed in November 2011, and what does it show?
The footage filmed in November 2011 was a green sea turtle tied up in the water, dragged onto the beach and cut up alive after having 4 attempts at trying to stun the animal with a grey besser block. I noticed on the vision that the turtle's eye was knocked half out of its skull on the first hit. It suffered 3 more blows. It temporarily stunned them, the turtle, and then they proceeded to cut it up alive. The turtle recovered. It suffered the process of both front fins being cut off. It suffered the back fins being cut off, and then they decided to take the carapace off, which is the bottom shell on a turtle, and as they lifted it, it was still alive, its head still coming up, it's gasping, and then you'll see the lungs, and you'll see clearly in that turtle it was a large breeding age turtle. It's full of eggs, they're yellow, you'll see in the vision. At the end of the turtle, to the right hand side of the vision, and then they take the lungs off the carapace, and then you see the turtle die. Now, when that was filmed, it was filmed from a distance of only 5 or 6 feet, and that took a long time to die. Now, I haven't checked exactly the time, but going by the vision, the person had to reset their camera about 4 times. It was a long time. And like I've said in the past many, many times, this is 2012, not 1712.
Now, how can we be sure that what that footage shows is not an isolated incident?
I've had many, many, many reports from people in the communities and all around the Cape since I've been running this for 2.5 years who have confirmed to me that sort of vision. I had the same vision sent to me in August 2009. I was accused then that was an isolated incident. It doesn't happen, it's an old practice. But this vision that we have now is current. It's last year's vision, late last year, and we've been dying to get on national television, and it confirms that's exactly what happens to an animal in North Queensland. And it happens right around the coast. That isn't an isolated incident. Also, we're sitting here at Green Island now, and about six to 8 weeks ago, there was a turtle caught here right in front of the tourists, and it was dissected in front of the tourists, and its entrails left on the beach with it all hanging out behind it like a big bag of sausages, and its flippers were still on. They just did that to show that that's how they do it, and they can do it.
So you have evidence that this is a common practice?
I have documentary evidence from this island too. 2 days after that vision appeared on the local television, showing what happened to that poor turtle, and I had some vision sent to me that was filmed not 20 feet from where we sit now, and it showed them hunting the turtle right in amongst the tourists, snorkelers behind the boat, full high definition footage, and they captured a turtle, they speared it, it shows them spearing it, jumping in the water, tourists watching that abhorrent act right here in front of them, and they were filming it too. I have plenty of vision, and I'm totally 1000% positive that's how they dispatch a turtle. And I want to make it clear too that it's not only Indigenous people who do that, some non-Indigenous people do that too.
Now we'll get to that in a minute, but why are you releasing this footage?
I need Australia to see the footage of what happens to an animal here right on their doorstep. We have a lot of young Australians, and my mate that actually filmed that there, when he contacted me, he was sitting in Tarjee as a co-warrior on the dolphins. We've got Australians going overseas to Borneo for the orangutans. We've got Australians chasing whalers around the southern oceans now. And yet this happens right on their doorstep and they don't know about it. And my whole mission was to get this around Australia, for Australians to be aware of what happens on their own doorstep. A lot of people are ignorant about it, but no one up here is ignorant about it. We've known about it up here for 50 or 60 years. They've been waiting for some fool like me to come along and expose it, and that's what's going to happen now. This is going to be on national television. I want people to see what's in this footage, know that happens on your front door, and start worrying about our own native wildlife.
Now, just another question. We've talked a lot about the footage and what it shows with regards to the turtle. What does it show with regards to the dugong?
The footage we have on the dugong is my friend, who was Rupert. He was on a boat, and he followed a couple of hunters in who had a dugong tied by the tail on the back of their boat. That is a normal way of drowning a dugong. A dugong is speared exactly the same way a whale does. They use a whop on a spear with a rope attached. They spear it into the dugong. It goes in under the flesh and it stays there. They release either a buoy and let it drag it to exhaustion, or they chase the dugong with the boat till it's exhausted, drag it by the tail, hold it upside down. I've spoken to Indigenous people, they've told it takes 6 to 7 minutes to drown that dugong. Another thing they do is grab the baby dugong, stick a knife in it, make it scream. The mother comes to the boat because, like I said, they stay with the mother for a few years suckling milk. These aren't just like a fish, these are like an elephant, these animals we're talking about. These are special animals on the planet. And they make the baby scream, then they spear the mother, and they take both of them. I've also
Have you seen it?
I've seen vision of that, yes. And a friend of mine is a well-known documentary maker. There's plenty of stuff, photos he's taken over the years and footage. There's a video called The Elusive Mermaid by Ben Croft. Anyone that wants to go and purchase that or see that, you'll see that vision. You'll see them spearing the dugong. You'll see them drowning it. You'll see them up on the shore. You'll see it was a mother that had the baby inside of it. They like to get the pregnant ones. The babies are very sweet. I've spoken to Torres Strait Islanders here in Cairns, and they told me they do target the baby dugong. And the sad thing about that is they don't breed until they're 15 to 16 years of age, so they're taking out the breeding stock. And when
that wasn't a baby swimming alongside its mother, that was a fetus. Have you seen evidence of them spearing a baby dugong to bring the adult?
No, I personally haven't seen that vision, but I've had it related to me many, many times by people who have been up in the Torres Straits, who have been around the northern coastline of Queensland, and they've reported that to me. I never produce a photo or a bit of documentary evidence unless I know the person, know it's factual. I don't want to malign people or the Indigenous nation with lies or untruths or vision from other countries. All the vision, all the pictures that I have, I've spoken to people who have personally taken them, or that vision, and I'm confident that vision is here.
Okay. Now, moving to the laws, under native title in Queensland, Indigenous people have the right to hunt these animals in accordance with custom. So what is wrong with this footage?
What's wrong with the footage is two things. There's two problems here. The 1993 Native Title Act Section 211 just allows Indigenous people the right to hunt and gather. Now, there's 50 native animals they're allowed to target. The two that I worry about are turtle and dugong because they're endangered status. And the problem is there is no bag limit. There is no permit system, effective permit system. An Indigenous person can go to a DERM office, Department of Environment Resource Management, and pick up a permit if they care to. That is the only way the government can have even a vague idea of how many they're killing. But the normal, everyday Indigenous person just goes out in their tinny, not a traditional canoe or a bark hut or anything like that. They go out there in an outboard and a tinny, and they chase them to exhaustion, and they take as many as they like. No one knows how many they're taking. I've queried Peter Garrett's Chief of Staff, Peter, asked him to tell me in any way, shape or form the numbers killed in Australia. They have no idea because there is no system. Now, if we don't have a system, the only way we're going to know when these animals are gone is when they're gone. And that's what struck me in the heart. And I thought, if I don't do this and bring it to everyone's attention, I've been on it, like you know, for 2 years and 6 months. and I have to pursue it to the end, because otherwise the end may be for the animals, and I'm going to be partly responsible, as you are.